Hello, student athletes and families. My name is Nelson Render. I'm the Chief of Secondary Schools. Last fall and winter were seasons of sacrifices you made for your health and safety of our community, your fellow athletes, your families, and friends. Yet, it's because of your sacrifice that we are here where we are today. We are emerging from isolation and stress brought on by the pandemic, ready to get back onto the field, back onto the court, and onto the mat. As I've said before, we know athletics are so much bigger than wins and losses. It's about the lessons learned and the people we become through adversity, dedication, and effort. It is about the memories that we make and the relationships that we form. We are ready to lean into a semester of reconnecting, friendships, and teamwork. We stand with you 100%, eager to watch you get back out there and make Madison proud. But we're doing this in a safe way. It is vital that we balance these opportunities to re-engage in athletics in an incredibly important and healthy and safe way and with safety measures. With the help of our medical advisors, we have developed an athletics plan we believe that is the strongest and safest possible. We want to thank you for your help in taking part in sports in a safe way. We truly are at our best, our strongest, when we work together as a team. Remember, we're all in this together. With that, I'll pass the video off to our District Athletic Director, Mr. Jeremy Schlitz.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 21-22 school year's MMSD Athletics Kickoff. Really looking forward to getting back to all 23 of our programs, being able to offer competitions and practices and connections to connect all of our student athletes with each other, with their coaches, and with the broader community through our education-based sports. It's been a long 17 months working through all the different things that we've needed to do to protect ourselves and our community, and making some sacrifices. And I cannot wait to have all of our students back with those opportunities that they cherish in the sports that they want. We're able this year to be confident we're going to be able to offer all of our programs and compete in all of our sports. There will still be some mitigation efforts and precautions to protect the safety of both our student athletes, but also our school community and community at large, which we'll talk about as we work through this. The key is we want to get back to what it means to be part of our high school sports programs. And first and foremost, these are for student athletes. And we need to be eligible and able, both physically and mentally, to be able to participate in our sports. At the end of the presentation today, we'll be able to get into our athletic code and some of the expectations that we have for our student athletes around scholarship, attendance, and citizenship. But how do we get started? We want to make sure everybody is physically fit and ready to make sure that they're able to handle strenuous activity. So it is required by the WIAA to have a pre-participation physical prior to any tryouts or practices. We've been lucky enough to find a healthcare providing partner in Pivotal Health to be able to provide some physicals for us both at the school sites on August 2nd and 3rd or August 16th and 17th, but also to be able to provide both in-home and in-office physicals at no cost to our student athletes this year to make sure all of us can get back to being able to do that. Our times and locations for those, East will be able to offer those physicals on site August 2nd from 4 to 6 and from August 16th from 1 to 3. Follett is going to offer those August 3rd and August 17th from 9 to 11. Memorial will be August 2nd and 16th from 9 to 11, and West will be August 3rd and 17th from 1 to 3 p.m. Make sure you check with your athletic office for more details on that or how to get in touch with Pivotal Healthcare and that service that they're providing to all of our students. As I did mention, we will discuss the code in detail near the end of this presentation, but I wanted to make sure I provided a couple of updates that are new and an accommodation related to COVID. Student athletes who did have athletic code violations prior to either the suspension and alteration of activities for the pandemic up through the end of last school year will have their penalties reduced level 1 violations to 1 contest, level 2 to 2, and level 3 to 3, because we were unable to provide those competitive opportunities in many of our sports this past school year. So, as we get back to some of us, a lot of us are new to being high school athletes at MMSD. So we do want to make sure we get an opportunity to celebrate some of those things that we do. And we're going to have a roundtable of our 4 athletic directors to make sure that we can kind of introduce some of those services beyond just the X's and O's and techniques around some of the sport that our programs and our coaches do offer. But we do recognize that even through this school year, there's evolving public health guidance. We're going to continue to stay up to date on it, revisit it regularly. And right now, the simplest way to look at it is we are treating our athletics the same way that we are going to be treating our academics in MMSD. So we are universally masking for all individuals indoors, following the current AAP and CDC guidance. That means that all of our practices, locker rooms, and competitions indoors at our MMSD facilities and for our student athletes when indoors will be required to be masked for those school activities. Outdoors masking is optional. We encourage all of our students, coaches, and community to be vaccinated to help protect all of us as we continue to work through the response to this healthcare pandemic. Transfer rules were updated. For those of you that are student athletes returning to MMSD, if you did not receive educational services from MMSD last year, you do have unrestricted eligibility if you left for 1 year and are returning to your home school district. That is a WI update. Please check in with your athletic office if you're in a unique circumstance. And do know if you are new to the district as either a sophomore, junior, or senior, there is some paperwork you need to fill out in your athletic office to make sure we're verifying the eligibility of all of our transfer students. As you work through those online forms, there's a couple other unique circumstances that are addressed. But as always, if you're able to reach out to your school AD or myself if you have questions, we want to make sure we protect you and your teammates around eligibility status and what we can do for our teams. Fees are $115 for all of our athletic teams. There are surcharges in some of our sports. In the fall, we've got golf with $118 surcharge. In the winter, we have gymnastics and wrestling with $100 and hockey with $800. Then again, golf in the spring with that $118. Fees are able to be taken care of through your Infinite Campus portal. Similar to your registration fees. So please make sure we're trying to pay those online. Fees cannot be populated to your account until the rosters are complete. So for those sports that start either the week of August 2nd or August 10th, you likely will be able to pay those during school registration time. For those sports that start the week of August 16th, you may need to go back in following registration to pay those fees. We do encourage you to pay those online. And additionally, if you're requesting a fee waiver, that is done through the enrollment process and will automatically take care of any of those required fees for our athletic programs. The last plea I will make to you before we get to that roundtable discussion amongst our 4 athletic directors is we are in need of, as is everyone around the county, around the state, and around the country, for transportation help. Many of our school districts are not able to secure transportation prior to 4 or 4:30, and we are one of them right now for those co-curricular trips. If you're interested in becoming a bus driver, there is a program where they would drop the bus off at the school and pick it up for you. So you just need to come. You could drive your son or daughter's team to the event and get paid to be a spectator and a supporter of the team. And we would really encourage any of you that would be willing and able to look into that through Badger Bus or any other provider. I know we have a shortage, like as I said, across the county, across the state, and across the country, which may result in some schedule modifications that need to be made. And we do want to avoid as much as possible asking our families to self-transport, but we may be put in this bind this year to make sure we can maximize our competitions if we are unable to find additional drivers to provide both school routes, but also those after-school things such as athletic activities. At this time, I'm going to turn it over for a discussion amongst our 4 high school athletic directors. And I really appreciate your attention to this. As always, please reach out through either our Let's Talk application on the district website or through your school athletic director if you have any questions about how to get connected with our education-based athletic programs. Thanks so much. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next segment of our athletic presentation to kick off the 21-22 school year. I'm Jeremy Schlitz. You may have saw me in the previous segment in the role of District Athletic Administrator. I'm also the Madison Memorial School Athletic Director and serve our Spartan students at Madison Memorial. And we want to give an opportunity for our other 3 high school athletic directors to introduce themselves. To my left, I have Tim Rockwold.
Hi, my name is Tim Rockwold, and I'm the athletic director at La Follette High School.
And below Tim, I've got Alicia.
Hi, I'm Alicia Pelton. I'm the athletic director at Madison West.
And finally,
And I'm TJ Rognes. I'm the AD over at East High School.
we've been very fortunate to work with the 4 of us as a team throughout this past school year, which was definitely a unique one for all of us. And have really, I think, become with a shared vision for our district and how we can support each other and provide some consistency for all of our programs and support each other as one MMSD family. We want to take this opportunity to talk through some of those things beyond just the X's and O's and techniques that we teach your sons and daughters related to sport, about the other things that our educational based programs can provide. I think first and foremost, we always look at being student first. Tim, if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about some of the academic support and advising and opportunities that our athletic programs connect with our school and our students through our programs.
Our academic support system that we're moving towards is coaches maintaining and monitoring that throughout the year. It's important that a spring coach knows where their students and their athletes are at in the fall as well as the spring, making sure that we give the proper focus to academics. It will be a year-round approach, and we will also provide study tables that will be individual to specific sports and to specific campuses. We will keep a Tuesday report, but those reports will eventually move electronically and will be monitored through the academic department. And we will provide supports and opportunities for our students to become more aware and also monitor deficiencies and provide supports for students so that they can all succeed.
Thanks, Tim. And additionally, we also able to provide some advising for those beyond high school. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what's developed through there? And I know we'll hear from that expert later on in our presentation as well.
Yeah, our district was lucky enough to elicit the work of Tyler Kastner, who is actually transitioning into a counselor's role at East, but will also provide district support for students that are looking to go into the NCAA academics and athletics as well. Every school has a college and career office, and also student services. Make sure that you're reaching out to your counselors so that they know that that is something that you're looking towards, and so that when it's time to make those decisions, that you have prepared yourself to allow yourself to make those decisions.
Thanks. And beyond just kind of that academic piece, I think we've all seen, and it's been illuminated and magnified through the pandemic, really the importance along providing some mental health supports and understanding. And I think we've found the connection that athletics makes really is an excellent inroad and avenue to help support our student athletes through that. Alicia, if you could speak a little bit about what some of our mental health supports look like through the athletic programs.
Sure can. Playing sports doesn't make athletes immune to that mental health challenges. And, personally, parenting 2 student athletes that have come through, I've dealt with mental health issues for a while, and I'm really aware of the importance of recognizing it's not okay to be, it's okay not to be okay. With pressures to perform in the game and the rest of their lives, being a teenager on top of being an athlete can be incredibly challenging for a person's mental health. And student athletes have those additional pressures to maintain their classwork and grades on top of the practice and games, and they stress about their futures, and even injuries can be a huge setback. So if we really think about it, when an athlete gets hurt, they receive time to heal, but what about those injuries that are invisible? And the initial groundwork has been laid at some of the high schools, with other high schools following, to take the next step in working with student athletes' mental health. For instance, here at West, we have 3 psychologists, 2 social workers, and 8 counselors who are in the building full-time and can support any student Anytime. So with help of our new football coach, Coach Bonamy, we've set it up so that the staff is set to meet with the coaches in August and introduce themselves and explain their roles and provide contact information with the goal of building relationships so coaches can reach out to them if they have concerns about a particular student. Then these counselors are of teams of 2 are going to attend practices of each sport, at least one, for a brief introduction to the students and kind of explain their roles, maybe even participate if they feel up to the challenge to help build those relationships. This is important since student athletes tend to reach out to coaches and athletic trainers first before anyone else. So learning that it's okay not to be okay and where those resources are located is really important. Across the 4 high schools, the psychologists and social workers take appointments as needed and are available to talk on the phone, text, email, or meet one-on-one while maintaining confidentiality. So they can also connect students with community or mental health resources. Students can use their space as a place to regulate or take a break and check in with someone. And all of this will really help the student athletes get help quickly and start to eat away at that stigma of mental health in student athletes and coaches.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been really impressed with the work that our student services program has done and the connections we've been able to make, to support all of our students, and then finding ways to connect our coaches with them, similar to teachers, and how we can be that advocate for the whole student. The other thing that I know is really special about a lot of our athletic programs revolves around those things that are kind of, secondary or outside the boundary lines of our competitions. And it's those things that do make it special. It's that stuff that happens outside, whether it's team gatherings or traditions or experiences. And one thing I do want to make sure that we're just cognizant of is to make sure that all those things that we do, and especially if those are involving funds or money, are run through the school to make sure that we're not only following our Title IX expectations, but also kind of equity across programs and equity for all of our students. So we're not making them feel as though they're unable to participate in some of those things that do make it so special. Please be in touch with your athletic director if you're some of those parents organizing some of those activities or looking to collect team funds or things like that, to make sure we're aligning with our district expectations as we do that, and making sure that we're providing and making everyone feel welcome to all of our athletic programs. I think that kind of leads into something, TJ, if you could touch a little bit just on our general communication stuff. It's been a while since we've been back to a kickoff. We're ready to get things rolling here in less than a week for our formal programming, and want to make sure we establish and reestablish some of that grounding stuff about really good, clear and consistent communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we've learned when we were kind of thrust into a new era of communicating, where it was all, in an email, in a written form, or whether it was over a Zoom, is that, consistent communications are difficult. It's difficult to communicate in a clear way so that everyone understands. So one of the focuses that we're going to try to use kind of borrows from the business world. With consistent communications, we're going to aim to provide the 3 C's. Clarity. What is it that we're trying to say, and are we saying it clearly? Cooperation. Do we sound like we want to work together on what we want, on what we're communicating? And then, of course, courtesy. We can't promise that we'll always say exactly what people want to hear, but we can promise that we'll say it in a manner that people won't mind actually hearing it. And then one final thing just about, our kind of what we want our attitude to be is that sometimes we acknowledge that we're not able to say exactly what we want, and it doesn't come out as clearly as we want. So questions are welcome. We want to hear from, our student athletes and their families. We want to know what they maybe have questions on. As we, go through our day-to-day communications, though, a lot of it, has to happen kind of quickly, and we need to establish or have established frameworks for how we want to share information. Some of those tools that we use, for instance, the big8conference.net is our main go-to source for all of our sports schedules. You as a parent, as a student athlete, it should count on it as being your most accurate and up-to-date source of the latest schedules for your team. One way we can guarantee that it is it also is used by other schools and by our officials. So if it's not right on big8conference.net, there's probably not going to be a game. So we do pay a lot of attention to making sure that it's accurate. A second tool that we're going to start with, we are currently developing new websites for each of the individual athletic offices. They will provide a consistent format for delivering information that will be the same from sport to sport, season to season. It'll become your one-stop shop for all levels of information during a season, whether it be varsity, JV, or at a ninth grader level. It will also provide a uniform source of communicating within a team or a sport or a program, rather than using the various social medias or using text groups or emails where you're never quite 100% sure where you might be getting information. These new websites that, as I mentioned, are in development and we expect to see up and running soon, will be able to provide that. You'll always know where your information should be coming. However, sometimes emails will be necessary. There are certain times when a coach needs to communicate large amounts of information that don't necessarily lend themselves to 140 characters at a time. With that in mind, knowing that emails will be necessary, coaches, all of our coaches have official MMSD email addresses. They can provide the authenticity that we're looking for, knowing that it's coming from a trusted source. And they also provide an additional level of security to what is being communicated, knowing that it's operating within the larger MMSD framework and the technology that we're able to take advantage of being part of the school district. There are various other tools that exist. Each of the high schools provides weekly and monthly newsletters that are sent to all students. So even if you're not involved in a sport during a particular season, updates on what's coming, warnings, if you will, on what to expect as your season arrives, those are all going to be part of newsletters that you don't even have to subscribe to. They'll come to you automatically for everyone who's enrolled at a particular school. So, those do, and I would, encourage to take a look at them. It's not just sports in them. While that's what's nearest and dearest to our hearts here tonight, of course, but there is a lot of information about your school community, all in a single place where it's easy to digest. And I would say a final word. Communication is not just one way. We understand that. A lot of what I've said so far is about one-way communication, us giving, or the athletic offices giving information. We want communication to be two-way. And one thing that we've used the last several months is to work together on how we want to structure communication from student athletes and families so that it is able to filter up to the proper levels easily, conveniently, and with as little frustration as possible. And, we are kind of calling it a communication tree. Your first line of contact as a student athlete should always be your coach. And we ask that as a student athlete, you communicate with your coach first and foremost when a question exists. Anything that has anything to do with you and working on your team, playing on your team, is going to involve the coach. And it's best to start with your coach. However, if a question does remain or if clarity is still not been reached, parents should feel free to contact a coach directly as well. But that student athlete should be a part of the conversation all throughout. There's so many things that can be sorted out one-to-one or even parent and student to coach that don't have to become larger frustrations. However, reaching out to an athletic office, the athletic director, is always a resource as well. It is welcome. As I mentioned, we do want to hear questions. And if we don't have an answer to a question, we'll work with you together to find it. But the coaching staff should always be your first stop. They always will be the ones that have the most immediate knowledge about the program and about the situation that you may have a question about. So really would encourage you to develop those relationships with your coaches. They are never going to intentionally be unclear, but as I mentioned, we don't always communicate as well as we would want to in any walk of life. And, you know, part of that communication C of our 3 C's of communication, cooperation, is something that we really want to focus on now that we're heading back in and we're going to get, you know, back on our courts, back in our pools, out on our fields, coming into here to the next school year.
Thanks, TJ. And I think along those lines, you know, we've really invested a lot into, you know, some professional development opportunities for our coaches to make sure we're aligned with what we're looking at for our teaching staff and all of our school staff, and allowing them to be truly educators as coaches. And Alicia, maybe if you could talk a little bit about some of our coach equity training opportunities and the professional development we've done in the past, and kind of project what we're looking to help continue to provide those services to our coaches and ultimately our communities at large through their professional development.
Sure. For the past, I don't know, numerous years, we've had professional development opportunities for our coaches at the 4 high schools. And it was a great success, and coaches love to attend, and they love the variety of topics. Just as we want our student athletes to learn and grow, we really want our coaches to role model that same behavior. So we're going to continue with professional development opportunities. So they'll be through live sessions, videos, book clubs, or whatever we come up with or are suggested, to offer an array of topics from mental and physical health to understanding coaching roles to team building activities. Because we recognize that coaches have the opportunity to play an influential role in the development of their student athletes, both athletically and in their off the field lives as well, which Jeremy spoke to earlier. This is why our professional development focuses more on the soft skills of coaching. But this year, we're gonna take the professional development a little bit deeper, and it has become clear that coaches have a platform and responsibility to teach their athletes that they have an innate value and dignity that's neither defined nor limited by their race, color, creed, gender, sexual orientation, or resources. So we're going to start to add more equity training opportunities that can expand coaching interventions to create greater equity. And this approach can give coaches the tools and framework to plan, implement, assess, and improve their coaching on all levels for all of our student athletes.
Yeah, I'm really excited about, you know, not only our approach to professional development, but what we can do to kind of move the needle on some of our anti-racist work as a district through athletics. And, you know, I think I really want to give kudos to our coaches that have bought in to that extra, not just worrying about the X's and O's and worrying about the kids, and thank them for that at this time as well. We've got a much broader team than the 4 of us that are here on the screen right now that help support our student athletes. One that I do really want to make sure I bring up is our athletic training partnership and resource. We're lucky to have contracted 4 athletic trainers at our 4 comprehensive high schools that serve all of our students, daily office hours, after school time, to provide support for both prehab and rehab, and then also just being able to analyze injuries and then provide support and advice, you know, as you kind of navigate if injuries do occur. I really encourage you to take a look at your athletic trainer's message and welcome, which is later on in the programming. But also, if an injury occurs, and make sure your first stop is your athletic trainer. We're so fortunate to have them be so accessible and so committed to our student athletes, and they can solve a lot of problems for you on the front end if we continue to communicate with them. I know that's something that we're going to get out through our team communications as well. But know we have that resource. Use it in season, out of season, and whenever that you need to. We are really lucky to have that UW Health athletic training resource in our district as much as we do, and thank them for their partnership with that. You know, a few other things. You know, we're still in that point of uncertainty We are still at part of those pandemics, both some of our racial and social injustice and the COVID-19 pandemic. And the best part about what we've learned is how resilient our athletes and our education-based athletics community is. And we're going to be here, we're going to reach the finish line on this. And it's going to be such a wonderful celebration, and the journey is going to be excellent this year. With that being said, right now we're in a situation based on our guidance and what we're doing in schools, where one thing that we'll be doing is masking indoors universally, to protect everybody. And the buy-in for that is easy. It allows us that opportunity to do what we all love. So I appreciate everybody's, understanding of that as we look at that responsibility for the privilege of education-based athletics. We're going to be responsive and flexible with strong mitigation efforts. We are going to lead the way on what best practices are. We are going to follow strong recommendations from our public health experts and our medical experts that provide guidance to the district, with first and foremost the safety of our students, our coaches, our school community, but also our loved ones that maybe don't also have those same opportunities. And we feel that responsibility to do that is just an outreach of what we find extremely important as a team. Obviously the we being greater than me in all aspects of our lives. Any questions as we kind of wrap some things up around the round table?
I have a question about the masking. How's it going to go with teams coming in and our teams going to other locations?
Yeah, so for our student activities, anything indoors, whether it's on our MMSD sites or outside of that, for those school-sponsored activities, we'll be masked indoors, following that best practice guidance right now. And that'll continue to be a discussion, on a weekly or more regular basis. And the most current stuff will come up and get pushed out to our families. In terms of other opponents coming into us, we haven't had that conference-wide discussion yet about the potential that our conference would be following that same mitigation effort, and that'll come shortly. But any of our guests or competitors coming into our MMSD buildings or our sponsored events will be required to mask indoors at all times, whether that's locker room, warm up, or competition, along with our officials and spectators and everything. Everybody indoors in our MMSD facilities will be required to be masked at this time.
I have one other question. What about student athletes who are vaccinated? How is that impacting?
That's awesome. We will have many less issues the more people that get vaccinated, and we really look forward to that 12 and under group having that opportunity as well. So entire feeder programs and youth, can feel that level of safety as we do it. But specifically to, why are we getting vaccinated? Well, you won't be restricted from activities if you're a close contact, unless you have symptoms or test positive for COVID. So getting vaccinated is going to ensure your opportunity to continue to participate, regardless of what may occur if you have a contact or some concerns that way. And the more people that are going to get vaccinated, the less incidents we're going to have, which mean the shorter times we're going to have these more restrictive measures in place. And I appreciate, again, that we being greater than me, this personal opportunity to help provide things for everybody at large, and following that science and following the recommendations of our medical experts is going to be really important for us to have a successful school year, not only in the classroom, but also in athletics.
Jeremy, did you mention anything about outdoors? Masking is required inside, but what about outdoor sports?
Yeah, right now, all of our outdoor sports and spectators and any activities on school grounds or as we travel off, right now, masking is optional. It's not going to be required in any circumstance at this point. We do recognize if the public health conditions don't improve or get to a point where we would maybe need to take a step back. We've been through all those iterations and kind of that scaffolding of mitigation efforts, and we will be, extremely ready to monitor and adjust. But right now, everything that we're doing outdoors, masking is optional, and those that feel like that makes them more comfortable, it's encouraged that you mask if that's going to make you feel the most safe and welcome to be participating in all the activities that we offer. I think, kind of before we get to our other experts, what's next, you're going to get some school sports specific communications, whether that's in your August newsletter, your enrollment information, through some of the websites or different contact lists that's athletic departments or schools have. But really the key date here is get your physical cards completed, get your online forms, both parents and students completed, so you can start from day one. That week of August 2nd, on August 3rd, football practice, pom dance and cheer have started their fall season. On August 9th, our girls golf programs start. On August 10th, we've got our girls swim and dive and also our girls tennis. And then August 16th, we add in boys and girls cross country, boys and girls volleyball, and boys soccer. So it's here. I can't wait to have all of our students back and doing that, but you've got a couple of opportunities thanks to Pivotal Health. If you don't have that current physical, which does need to have occurred after April 1st, 2020, to be able to be counted for your WI clearance form, you do have that opportunity either the 2nd or 3rd or 16th or 17th with either on-site or they'll come to you for those physicals. Please take advantage of that so you can get started from day one. And I know we're going to hear again related to some specifics on the athletic code, which you also had as part of your online forms. And a reminder, our athletic code is in effect 24/7, 365. And, you know, I think one way that we always look at it is we're not going to make excuses for you. But if that's an excuse to get you out of a situation you don't want to be in, always use that athletics code as an excuse not to put yourself in a situation that's going to have repercussions for you and your teammates. We'll also get a chance to hear from your specific athletic trainer as they welcome you back and look forward to being able to provide you services as well. And then finally, as Tim had mentioned, Tyler Kastner will be back with some of the resources and updates related to what you can do from your freshman year up through your senior year to provide opportunities in the athletic arena beyond high school. So thanks so much for your attention tonight to the meeting and looking forward to getting everybody back and really to the MMSD family. Thank you for everything you've done over the past 17 months to work through this. And I can't wait to see, you know, and we had some excellent success in the alternate fall and spring across the district, both individually and as a team. I can't wait to see how strong we're going to come out this school year with all our teams and programs back, and looking forward to everybody having a successful and wonderful experience as part of MMSD Athletics. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is TJ Ragnes. I'm the athletic director at Madison East High School, and I'm going to be taking you through an overview of the Madison Metropolitan School District's Student Athletic Code. If at any point you do have questions about your athletic code, your absolute best resource is certainly your athletic office. My hope tonight during this presentation is to cover many of the main parts that you can expect to run into as a student athlete and as a family of a student athlete here at MMSD. Again, if you do have questions, please feel free to contact your athletic office, and I'm certain any answers you need, you'll be able to get there. So the first thing that I'd like to cover is that there are two steps to participating in athletics. The first step is actually becoming eligible to be a student athlete. And the second step is remaining eligible to be a student athlete. We'll begin with what it takes to become eligible and then move on to what it takes to remain eligible. The first and most important part of being eligible as a student athlete in MMSD is that you be and remain an amateur. Very simply, a rule of thumb to cover is make sure that you've not accepted anything of value for participating in an athletic event if that particular item hadn't been offered to everyone participating. A second part of that, of being eligible, is that you reside with your entire household in your high school's attendance area. There are certain rules within eligibility that apply specifically to attendance. Again, I would refer you to your specific school's athletic office if you have questions. A second avenue to becoming eligible as far as attendance is applying for an internal transfer, which is within the Madison Metropolitan School District, or open and enroll from a community outside of Madison. If either of these options are something you're interested in exploring, you need to consult with the athletic office of the community where you currently reside, as well as the athletic office that you are intending to transfer or open enroll to, as the WIAA requirements are pretty strict and are also very specific as to what you would need to accomplish, as well as consulting with the MMSD enrollment office for the requirements of enrolling in an MMSD school. Once you've established that you are enrolled at an MMSD school, and once you would like to begin the process of participating in a specific event, a specific sport, there are several steps that need to be taken before you'll be allowed to practice. For those student athletes that are returning to a new season, all athletic participation fees, all uniforms, and all equipment from previous seasons must be returned or paid for. Before practicing, any participation fees that are listed on your Infinite Campus account must be taken care of. If there's any uniform or equipment left over from previous seasons, that must be returned or paid for. Once we've gotten to the point where the season has begun and final rosters have been set, athletic participation fees of $115 for each sport that you participate in, plus surcharge fees for golf, hockey, gymnastics, and wrestling will be added to your Infinite Campus account. Again, that won't happen until after final rosters have been set. However, they do need to be paid before you'll be allowed to compete. A note on this is that athletic fees are applied separately from the beginning of school fees, and that they may also be paid separately in the athletic office. If you would like to use a check to pay an athletic fee, please do make sure that the athlete's name, their student identification number, and the sport that they're playing are on the memo line so that we are able to apply it properly. Once the fees have been examined, the next step is to complete the online athletic permissions. Those online permissions are available on each school's athletic office via a link on their webpage, as well as it's indicated right here on our screen. And if this is a recording, you'll be able to just click in right through there. Something to note is that each student athlete must complete the online permissions for each sport they play. That means that if they are playing a sport in the fall and the winter and the spring, they would need to complete the online permissions once for each of those seasons. There are separate spots for the student athlete to complete, as well as the parent or guardian to complete, two separate set of questions. The student athlete must log in with their own personal Infinite Campus credentials, as well as the parent must log in with their individual Infinite Campus credentials. If there's any question about the login or password, a parent guardian is able to either contact your school's athletic office, or there is a password retrieval tool within the login page for the online permissions. Once you click that link, a new password will be emailed to you. The athletic permissions cover many of the initial eligibility, many of the initial clearances that are necessary to participate in an interscholastic sport. The final step after completing the athletic permissions is to submit proof of a recent physical via either a WIAA physical card or an alternate year physical card. These forms are found at the end of the athletic permissions questionnaire. Once you submit that you attest all this information is true, you will have a link available that you can print the form from. Once you print that form, complete it, and return it to your athletic office, this must be done before the first day of practice. There may be pre-printed forms available in your athletic office at your high school. That would be something that you would need to check at each individual school. Most clinics and doctors' offices also have these forms available. And if you do go in for a physical and simply ask them for the WIAA physical form, they most likely will know what you're referring to. A final step that may or may not be required of you, depending on your sport and depending on your school, is an emergency medical information sheet. This is something that your coach would carry with him or her at all practices or competitions on the off chance that the student athlete is injured and that any emergency information is necessary. Once you've completed the pre-eligibility forms, there is a question of remaining eligible to compete throughout the course of the school year. This is measured in a variety of ways. The first is that you are demonstrating adequate academic performance at all times and in the past. The grades from the most recent high school grading period control your initial academic eligibility. For those that are incoming freshmen, they begin with a clean slate. That is, their 8th grade grades do not apply for fall sports. However, grades from the first quarter of high school will be considered when they are completed. For students that are sophomores, juniors, and seniors, the grades from 4th quarter of the last year will be what are considered for fall sports. If there is a class that you did not pass, a single class that you did not pass, you would be ineligible for 22% of the scheduled contests of that fall. If you had 2 or more non-passing grades from 4th quarter of the previous school year, you would be ineligible for 33% of the scheduled contests in your sport for that fall. You also must be enrolled as a full-time student per your school's guidelines before you're able to practice and or compete in your sport. And finally, you must be attending and passing all classes during the current school session. These are measured by weekly academic status reports, which are also known as Tuesday reports, as they are commonly submitted to the coaches on Tuesdays. These reports show a snapshot of the student athlete's academic standing in each of the classes that they're currently enrolled in. If the student athlete displays a non-passing grade in any class for 2 consecutive reports, they are ineligible to compete until that grade is raised to passing, and that will be at least a single contest. Attendance is also tracked. If there are any unexcused absences that appear on 2 consecutive attendance reports, the student athlete would be ineligible for at least 1 contest. Another section of remaining eligible is adherence to the MMSD athletic code. There are questions as to why does an athletic code exist. Among those is that it is a WIAA requirement for all Wisconsin high schools to have an athletic code. It provides consistent expectations that guide, govern, and measure the conduct of our student athletes. A note on this, where MMSD has 4 high schools, the athletic code is the same for all high schools in Madison. And the athletic code is enforced the same at all high schools in Madison. We have an athletic code to emphasize the year-round responsibility that all student athletes have to conduct themselves in a way that reflects positively on themselves, their families, their schools, and their communities. And it is a demonstration of the privilege that being an MMSD athlete, student athlete is. In many ways, it should be noted that the athletic code is stricter than the rules for a quote unquote regular student. This is further evidence that participation in sports is a privilege that has to be earned on a continuing basis throughout the school year. Now, unfortunately, with the code, there are occasions that violations occur. And when these violations occur, there are consequences that the student athlete will face. Within the Madison Metropolitan School District's athletic code, there are 3 levels of code violations. Level 1 include non-athletic tobacco or drug-related violations, and in some unique cases, self-reported athletic tobacco or drug-related violations. For a level 1 violation, the first time it happens, a student athlete will be ineligible, depending on the severity, for 1 to 4 contests within their season. Any subsequent violations after that first time violation, the student athlete will be ineligible for 25% of the season. Level 2 violations deal exclusively with alcohol, tobacco, or drug-related violations. A violation for a level 2, a penalty for a violation at level 2 is an ineligibility for 50% of the current or upcoming seasons. The final level, level 3, is for extremely serious violations. These violations will carry a suspension from competition for 50 to 150% of the season, depending on the severity. We'll talk a little bit more about each level in specific now. At level 1, as we mentioned, first-time violations cause an ineligibility for 1 to 4 contests. Anything subsequent to that initial violation is an ineligibility period of 25% of the season. Some examples of what will carry a level 1 violation of the athletic code are any out of school or full day in school suspensions for behaviors such as fighting, harassing, forgery, cheating, or violation of general school rules. Another level 1 violation may include attending a gathering where underage drinking or drug use is taking place, or transporting students to such a gathering, as well as conduct unbecoming of an athlete in the Madison Metropolitan School District, which would include some uses of social media. In unique cases, self-reported alcohol, tobacco, or drug-related violations may carry a level 1 violation penalty. If that ATOD violation is self-reported to the athletic director, a principal, the school's ATOD coordinator, or their coach prior to any staff being aware and prior to the team's next practice, game, or event, if they happen to be in season, or prior to noon of the first school day during the school year, or noon of the third day during a recess, for instance, if we were during a summer break, that will result in a suspension from competition that may be reduced by up to 50% of the initial suspension. Basically, what that means, it may go from half of your season to a quarter of your season, depending on the circumstances. Carried within this, however, is the requirement that the student athlete meet with the school's ATOD coordinator and that they follow through on any recommendations that the coordinator gives before any suspension would be reduced. At level 2, which again deal with alcohol, tobacco, or drug-related violations of the athletic code, the violation will carry a suspension of 50% of the season. Included with those violations are buying, possessing, or use of tobacco, nicotine, alcohol, drugs, or any imitations of them, any smoking of any sort, any misuse of prescription or over-the-counter medications are all examples of a level 2 violation, and all will carry a 50% suspension from competition. Level 3 are our most serious violations. They carry a suspension for 50% to up to 150% of the student athlete season. They include possession of a dangerous or concealed weapon, forging school keys or key cards, theft or vandalism causing more than $200 worth of damage, any hazing or initiation activities, battery or sexual assault, belief by staff or, belief by staff of a municipal, state, or federal ordinance violation, organizing or hosting a gathering where alcohol or drug use occurs, selling, providing, or distributing alcohol or drugs, as well as any level 4 or level 5 behavior education plan violation that occurs within the school. Your athletic code is available online at all of your school's athletic office web pages. It is available in printed form at any of your athletic offices as well. Thank you for taking the time with me this evening, to examine an overview of our athletic code. I wish you the very best of luck in your upcoming seasons. Thank you.
Hi, Spartan families. I'm Bree Braun. I'm the athletic trainer, and I've been asked to share some information with you about our program here at Madison Memorial. This slideshow has my email address on the bottom, so if you need to get a hold of me, you can use that. Otherwise, all of the coaches on staff do have my phone number, so if you need that, you can go through your coaches or Mr. Schlitz to get a hold of me. So I wanted to start out with what an athletic trainer actually is. Some of you may not have been around high school athletics where there was an athletic trainer. So athletic trainers are highly qualified, multi-skilled healthcare professionals. We collaborate with physicians and other healthcare providers to provide preventative services, emergency care, clinical diagnoses, therapeutic interventions, and rehab of injuries and medical conditions. So as far as me personally, I graduated from UW-Madison with a degree in kinesiology, exercise science, and athletic training. I then went on to a graduate assistant position where I worked at a high school at Western Michigan, and I graduated with a degree in athletic training and sports management there. I've been working as an athletic trainer since then. I'm going into my 19th year working as an athletic trainer, and this will be my 8th year at Madison Memorial. I love working at Madison Memorial. My family lives in the Memorial District, and my kids are old enough, they'll get to be Spartans too. So the athletic training services that we have at MMSD are provided by UW Health. So I am an employee of UW Health, and I fulfill a contract with Madison Memorial. And because of that, I have some additional roles, including working in our sports medicine clinic at UW Health, usually at the Research Park location. That can be really helpful for getting kids in to see some of our sports med physicians. So I really enjoy doing that part of my job as well. So as far as coverages at Memorial, we're contracted to work 5 days a week for 3 hours of practice coverage. So I usually do that from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. That can vary. It's quite a bit different usually in preseason, and sometimes the hours are a little later, depending on which season we're talking about. And then also during breaks or time off, I have some little different hours, and I usually post those on my door, and the coaches have access to that information too. So if you're wondering where to find me, they can find the information out on in my calendar. I'm contracted to work events as well. So I work soccer and basketball games. The contract is for varsity only for those sports. And then I also cover gymnastics and wrestling meets, hockey games, track meets, and cross-country meets when those are home events. And then for varsity football, I cover away games as well. When it comes to WA tournament time, I often will work outside of those with some of the other sports if they have home events, or I will travel with some teams too if I have the availability, if we go deep into the WA tournament with different sports. So I wanted to talk a little bit about when it's a good idea to see me. So acute injuries during practice or games are obviously something that's really important. So if something happens while you're competing or when you're practicing, then come see me and we'll figure it out. If there's a chronic injury or you're having some pain and you're not really sure whether it's an injury or just soreness, that's something that we can work on. If you have a known injury in your past and you want to work on preventing that from coming back or becoming a problem for your participation, we can do some things in the athletic training room for that as well. If you have a wound or need some bandaging done, then the athletic training room is a good resource for that, especially during practices and games. And then also after practice, we have a lot of maintenance work that people do in the training room. So getting ice, rolling out, doing some stretching, checking in if you're coming back from an injury to make sure that you are progressing as we expect. And then we do some other things, including giving kids some advice on non-physical activity things. So their nutrition as it relates to sports performance, hydration, sleep, other things that might kind of give them the edge up or at least keep them from becoming one of my patients on a regular basis. So there are some rules and policies that I wanted to let everyone know ahead of time. So we do taping in the athletic training room, but it's used for injuries and injury prevention. So we don't do taping on call, basically. So there would have to be a specific reason that you would need to get taped in order to do that in the training room. I really recommend bracing, especially for ankles, as it's much more cost effective and you don't miss part of practice waiting to get taped if the room's too busy. I cannot give medications to students, so don't tell your kids that if they need Tylenol or ibuprofen that I can provide that, because I cannot. All return to play decisions go through me as the athletic trainer. So coaches can get a hold of me if they have any questions, but I am the last decision maker as far as what's going to happen with kids. Usually I'll put them through a return to play protocol and then figure out if they are ready to go. There is some prioritizing that goes on as far as when people are getting seen in the training room because of how busy it can be. So emergencies trump everything else. So if something is happening emergently, then I will deal with that and drop what else I'm doing. If it's a game versus a practice, the game has a priority if that's something that I'm covering. If you're an in-season athlete, you will be seen before an out-of-season athlete. If you need something quick and easy like taping or wrapping, that will get bumped in front of a new injury as long as it's not emergent. And those that are practicing that day will be seen before athletes who are not participating that day. But a lot of times I'll do a lot of multitasking where I'll help out the athletes who are out while I'm doing other things. So they can get going on their rehabs. And then if an athlete needs to leave for a competition or if they're practicing off site, sometimes I'll let them skip ahead a little bit so that they can get where they need to go. So some do's and don'ts of the athletic training room. So this is the do list. So please let your coach and athletic trainer know if you're having pain. There's ways that we can figure out in evaluating you, whether it's more of a soreness issue that you just have to work through, or if it's a pain issue that is an injury that we want to deal with more proactively. If it's during practice and you have some issues, let the coach know, and then you can come see me. So don't disappear so that the coach can't find you or doesn't know where you went. Make sure that you discuss any injuries with your athletic trainer before you go see a physician. We can save people a lot of time and money and headache by treating things in-house rather than seeing a physician who may not be as good at dealing with athletic injuries as we are at the high school. If you do take your son or daughter to the doctor, you have to have written permission or a direct verbal contact with me for them to return to play. So the doctor saying that they're good to go is not good enough from a legal standpoint for us. So make sure that you get letters saying that your athlete can return. If I give you exercises or rehab or treatments that you need to do, make sure that you follow through on those. The best thing that we can do is work hard in our rehab and get out on the courts or back on the field as soon as possible, rather than letting things go and not doing our jobs. The other thing I really do recommend is if your athlete has a last hour of the day off, or if they have a study hall, they can come early. I'm there starting at 3 o'clock before school gets out. And that's a much less busy time of the day. So that's a great time to utilize the athletic training room if you don't have class at that time. And always know that communication will happen between the athletic trainer, the athlete, the coach, and the parent after you're seen for an evaluation. So know that we're going to communicate and let everybody know what's going on. So in the don't list, so please don't ignore injuries until they're unbearable or hide symptoms of a concussion. We don't want to create worse injuries that you might not be able to come back from during your season by not taking care of the little things first. Don't ignore advice and play without permission. You can get yourself, your family, and your school and coaches and myself in a lot of trouble if you don't do what you're supposed to do. Don't use the athletic training room as a hallway, and don't wear cleats in the building. So we have a lot of really great things to look forward to in 2021. We're finally all back in person. I'm really excited to be able to work with everybody. It's something I really missed over the last year and a half, and I got a little taste this spring, but it'll be excited to fully have everybody back. We have the referendum items for athletics that we are going to be planning for over the next little bit. So that's another exciting thing. And then specific to the athletic training room, we are beginning our trial of Healthy Roster. So this is an electronic medical record, which is pretty neat. So it allows me to keep records of all the injuries that athletes have, and it also allows communication with parents and coaches directly in the program, which can be used as an app from both the parent and coach perspective. So we're gonna do a little bit of that in the fall, but try to hopefully fully have it implemented come winter sports. And I also wanted to include our concussion protocol in this. I didn't want to necessarily go over the whole thing, but it's included there. So if you have any questions or you want to glance at it, just so you know kind of what the process is like if your athlete sustains a concussion, it's there for you. Anyway, I'm really excited for this coming year. This is my group of Spartans here, my family, and we can't wait to watch you all compete. Thanks a lot. Let me know if you have any questions, and go Spartans.
Hi Pergolders! My name's Mandy. I'm the athletic trainer here at East High School. This will be my 10th fall season here at East, so there are probably a few familiar faces watching today, but I just want to do a quick introduction for any families or athletes that might be new to East. So if you've seen me around before, you probably have at least an idea of what I do here. But what exactly is an athletic trainer? Athletic trainers are board certified and state licensed healthcare professionals. We work as part of a healthcare team. We provide primary care, injury prevention, wellness promotion, emergency care, examination, and clinical diagnosis, as well as therapeutic intervention and rehabilitation of injuries and medical conditions. So this could mean anything from managing an on-field neck injury to creating a rehab program for a sprained ankle, making a referral to a surgeon for a torn ACL, guiding return to play after a concussion, or even just being a listening ear after a bad day of practice. So assuming we return to a normal school day this fall, my normal hours at the school will be 3 to 6 p.m. And you can find my room located next to the wood shop and across the hall from the metals lab in the tech hallway. The best way to get in contact with me is with my UW Health email address. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen here. It's also listed on the athletics webpage, but when in doubt, just talk with your coaches and they can let you know the best way to get a hold of me at any given time. I'm so glad that we're returning to a full fall season at this point, but the last year and a half have been really different as far as activity levels that our bodies have been used to. So it's really important to remember, especially this year, to take care of our injuries right away and listen to our bodies when something's not feeling right. We want to keep you active. I want to keep you in the game. I have no hidden agenda. I'm here to advocate for you and to keep you safe and healthy.
Hi Lancers, I'm Brent Dubois, the athletic trainer at La Follette High School. I've been asked to share a little bit of information with you regarding the services I provide. For those of you who don't know what an athletic trainer is, I'm a highly qualified, multi-skilled healthcare professional who renders services or treatment under the discretion or in collaboration with a physician. And as part of this healthcare team, I provide services that include injury and illness prevention, wellness promotion and education, emergent care, examination and clinical diagnosis, therapeutic intervention, and rehabilitation of injuries and medical conditions. A little basic information about me. I received my bachelor's degree from University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire in 2011, and I received my master's degree in kinesiology and physical education from Northern Illinois University in 2014. I've worked in both Division I and Division II college athletics and in junior hockey, and this will be my 4th year at La Follette. Some basic information about the athletic training room at La Follette. The room number is E6 if you're looking for it, and my typical hours are going to be from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. These hours can vary a little bit depending on events or if there is no school. I do post weekly hours on the door so that you can always check and see what the hours are for the week. I also cover home events for varsity soccer, varsity basketball, wrestling, hockey, track, cross country, football, and WIAA home events. I also do cover away football games. You might be asking, when should I see the athletic trainer? Well, you should come see me if you have an acute injury during practice or a game, a chronic injury or pre-existing injury, if you need a Band-Aid or ice, or something is just bugging you. I prefer you see me before an injury becomes something that is preventing you from competing. You can think of me as a resource. I can evaluate the injury and help make a plan, whether that includes rehab, practice limitations, or a referral to a physician. We want to get you back to competition as fast and as safe as we can. If your child does end up seeing a physician, we do require a note from that physician stating any restrictions that they may have. And if the physician is clearing them, we do ask that you have a physician's note that does say that they are cleared to return to activity. When I am aware of an injury, I do communicate with coaches so that they are aware of any restrictions that may be placed on the student athlete. I also do my best to try and communicate with the parents and guardians of the student athlete, especially if they're going to miss any practice or competition, or if they require a referral. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to contact me via phone or email. And you can get that information from any of the coaches or from the athletics office.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending the Collegiate Athletic Process presentation. My name is Tyler Kastner, and I am currently the Madison Metropolitan School District NCAA liaison. And what that means is I am working with school counselors, athletic directors, coaches on the process of maintaining for students the eligibility, academically, recruiting, anything like that, that can enhance the opportunities for your student to attend college and play athletics, all right? So I was working this year with mainly school counselors and coaches and athletic directors. Hopefully next year I'll get to work a little bit more with individual students, and I'm looking forward to meeting some of you next year, regardless of if it's face-to-face or over video. So hopefully we'll get to do that. All right, the presentation today will cover various topics ranging from each grade level, 9th through 12th. And we will be discussing mainly the tasks that you need to start thinking about in each grade level to hopefully enhance your opportunities beyond high school to play in college. So we'll go through this presentation. It'll be a brief presentation for you, but hopefully it'll get you to start thinking about certain things, okay? All right, first and foremost, we'll talk about a little bit about COVID considerations. And what that means is that what I'm talking about, many schools, universities, and colleges are losing certain athletic programs due to lost revenue. Without, in-person or live sports, they're losing a lot of revenue and having to make the difficult decision to cut certain programs, all right? So what that means for you is I want you to keep all your options on the table as long as possible, all right? That means I know a lot of you would love to attend a D1 or D2 school, but sometimes the D3 NAIA and NJCAA just make a better case for you as far as being a better choice. And so I don't want you to cut or eliminate certain programs just because you're not interested in the level or you're not interested in the college at this point. You never know when that college you may be dreaming of cuts a program or due to something, unforeseen. So you want to make sure that you're keeping all other stakeholders happy as well. You want to make sure that you're keeping everything and anything on the table so you have those choices later on. Always have a backup plan just in case your plan A doesn't work. All right, so we're gonna move on from there and talk about 9th grade. All right, so for those of you in 9th grade, all right, start the conversation about planning during and after high school. And what this means is sit down with your family and discuss what are some goals you want to have during high school. So academically, do you want to take rigorous courses? Which courses do you want to take? What's your interests, all right? Like if you're interested in computers, so look at AP Computer Science, right? Like you want to take certain classes that may look really nice for one, college admissions, and then two, your academic eligibility. So making sure that you're taking courses that are rigorous in nature. Plan how you're going to get there. Athletically, first and foremost, if you're playing, as a freshman and you're on the freshman team or the JV team, you want to make sure that like a goal should be obviously playing varsity. All right. After that, what are your individual goals that you want to achieve? All right. So come up with kind of like a game plan for your 4 years athletically. What kind of goals or, records do you want to have individually for yourself? And then lastly, what kind of extracurriculars do you want to have beyond just athletics? So start thinking of some different areas that you want to kind of, maybe venture into or start working with and getting a better resume overall to, give to a college for college admissions, all right? Secondly, one of the other important things that you need to know is where to find your 48H list of core classes. This is for NCAA Division I and II. If you are hopefully dreaming of playing Division I or Division II, you need to know where this list is because you have to take courses on this list to achieve academic eligibility to play Division I or II. The schools I have listed below are all the 4 high schools in Madison and the ACT code. You will need to have the ACT code of your school to find this list of 48H. You will go to eligibilitycenter.org. You'll type in the ACT code and it will give you a list by subject of the courses that you can take to qualify academically just with your courses, all right, for each individual high school for NCAA Division I and II. All right, you need to make sure that you're taking challenging courses and qualifying academically. Taking the challenging courses are going to allow you to gain admission into the school. That is probably the most important thing you can do, because you can always qualify academically for NCAA, but you may not qualify admissions wise to get into the school. So you need to be looking at taking challenging courses, honors, AP, things like that. Okay, but find this list and take courses on that list. All right. Freshmen also earn best grades possible in all subjects, especially those core courses. You will be taking some of those courses on the 48H for your school as freshmen. There's no way around it. You're going to take English, math, science, history, most likely, maybe a world language as a freshman. All of those count for NCAA Division I and II academic eligibility, okay? So make sure that you're earning your best grades possible. If you're earning your best grades possible in core courses, you're setting up a really good foundation for sophomore year. And most likely, most of those courses anyway are graduation courses anyway. So you, first and foremost, you have to graduate high school for any level, Division I, II, III, NAIA, or NJCAA. So this is setting you up for sophomore, junior, and senior year by getting those best grades possible. All right, then take your 9th grade standardized test seriously to gauge where you stand for the ACT. All right, you want to kind of take the pre-ACT or SAT and just see where you are. See what, you know, what subjects you're really strong in, and you can kind of build on that. And then what subjects you're a little weaker in, and where you can kind of like get tutoring or get some help yourself, you know, improve kind of your chances to get an overall really good score. All right, start working on adjusting your overall resume. And I talked about this a little earlier, but start working on those extracurriculars that are non-athletic, okay? And that means like volunteering in the community or getting a part-time or full-time job. You're basically kind of building a resume. It's like a job, you know, kind of a job resume for college admissions. You want to make sure that the college is looking at you and saying, oh, they're not just an athlete who does really well. They're an athlete, plus they're involved in the community, and they're doing a lot of good things in the community. We want that student because they're going to bring a lot to our campus. Okay. So you're building that. So start freshman year. They want to see that you're going to do 4 years of some sort of volunteer service as well. Okay. All right. For sophomores, adjust the plan for high school and beyond and create a list of schools for both athletics and academics. And what this means is we want to make sure that we're starting to create that list now of colleges and universities that you're wanting to go to. It should be at each level. You should have something athletically that you think you can fit into. And if you're not sure, or you're, you know, unsure of like if you can hit the D1 level, then just leave it at D2 and down, or D3 and down. That's absolutely fine. You can always, this list is going to be flexible. You can change the list as you kind of see fit due to circumstances. Academically, same thing. When you're taking rigorous courses, which colleges can you get into? What are your, you know, what we talk about, your reach, safety, match schools, things like that. Like, so start working on a list. It doesn't have to be cohesive with both, you know, lists, but start working on a list for both of those. Continue earning the best grades possible in all subjects. We'll continue to harp on that. That's obviously super important. You want to get 2 years under your belt to build that strong foundation for junior and senior year. And then by the end of 10th grade year, you should register for an eligibility center account. If you are a varsity player as a sophomore, you should definitely register for the eligibility center account if you want to play Division I or II athletics. All right. It does cost, I think, around $100 to register. So you want to make sure that you're ready, you know, with the payment on hand and things like that. If you are eligible for a fee waiver, you can also request one from your school counselor. They can punch it into the system if you are eligible. Okay. So by the end of 10th grade year, you should be doing that. If you're not a varsity player and you're unsure if you're going to play D1 or D2, it is okay to just kind of wait on it and not register until you're for sure looking at that D1 or D2 level. You will go to eligibilitycenter.org and create your registration account. Okay, take any 10th grade standardized test seriously to gauge where you stand for the ACT or SAT. It just means basically the same thing as freshman year. You have one more year before the final test, before the big, you know, the big ACT day. And so you want to make sure that you are really taking into consideration where your strengths and weaknesses are with each subject. All right, NCAA Division I and II, in addition to NAIA, I'll take your ACT or SAT score, and they'll kind of break it down to figure out if you will be eligible for the full ride athletic scholarship or a full qualifier, partial qualifier, etc. All right, make up any courses that are needed for graduation immediately. You want to make sure that you are taking courses and making them up. So if you have any courses that you need for graduation, that is obviously the most important. If you are looking at the Division I level, it's the only rule for Division I. Division II, III, NAIA, and NJCAA do not have this rule. You will lock in 10 of your core courses after summer of junior year. So you need to make up any courses you failed or any courses that you want to get a better grade in. Those need to be in the system by the end of the summer of your junior year. Okay, that's for Division I if you're looking at that level. Okay, you still need to make up those graduation credits immediately because you don't want to be playing catch up as a senior and junior. But you need to make sure that you are taking courses and getting those locked in, especially for if you are a Division I athlete, okay? Make sure you have at least 10 core courses. This is for juniors, and they fit with the required subjects for NCAA eligibility. This is what I just talked about. All right, so at the end of the summer of junior year, NCAA, once they get your official transcript, will basically break it down, and they lock in the 10 best grades you have. So if you didn't make those classes up and you're going into senior year, or you have low grades and you have to count those, they count them. You cannot change those. The old rule used to be you can change those in and out. You cannot change the 10 that NCAA locks in. Okay? Take the ACT and SAT and obtain the highest score possible. Easier said than done, obviously. Take it easy. Try to take a deep breath. I know it's hard, but this is a good time to relax and take the ACT and SAT and just, score the highest score possible you can and know that you worked really hard to get there. Okay? This is obviously for both of those eligibility standards. For college admissions, obviously the composite ACT score is really important. And then also for eligibility for NCAA Division I and II, they're going to look at all 4 of your subject tests on the ACT and add them together. And that will help calculate your academic eligibility with your core course GPA. Okay. And then if you are looking at NAIA schools, you can register for that at myplay.naia.org. Just go in there and register for an account, and you can also grab a fee waiver from your school counselor and they'll submit that for you. Okay? All right, after junior year, you should have your NCAA school lead or registrar or school counselor send an official transcript to the eligibility center. They have to have an official transcript on hand to start breaking down your eligibility. This speeds up the process when you're a senior so you can start summer practices, things like that. So you want to make sure that you do send one after junior year. All right, and discuss with your counselor, family. I would also put in there the collegiate options available to you to make up any courses for graduation or to improve upon grades. You want to obviously make sure you do this before the end of summer, before you start your senior year. Okay, and then when scheduling classes for 12th grade, know and choose core courses as electives. You want to make sure that you're picking core classes on that 48H list. There are a lot of AP and honors courses on there, so make sure you're challenging yourself for college admissions, and then also that you're doubling up kind of that Division I or II standard by taking those core courses as well for your school. All right, 12th grade, congratulations, you made it. All right, develop and implement a plan of action for completing college applications and supplementary material. All I would love for you guys to do is just basically come up with a timeline of when you're gonna, when each and every college application you're gonna submit, when are their deadlines, when are there early decisions, early actions, things like that? When are you going to complete the application? When are you going to get your personal essays ready, your, letters of recommendation, your supplementary essays, things like that? When is all that going to be completed for senior year? So develop that plan of action before you go into senior year. It is super busy. You don't want to be messing around with like, oh, did I submit this? Did I submit this? No, you have a checklist. You've gotten it all kind of under control. All right, take as many required and elective core courses as you can. We talked about this earlier, so make sure you're doing that. You want to make sure that you're taking as many core courses as possible. As long as you are, on track for graduation, that's obviously the first and foremost thing you need to do that's important. And then lastly, we talk about completing the FAFSA as early as possible. Make sure that you complete your FAFSA. Every student athlete needs to complete the FAFSA. Even though you may be getting a full ride scholarship or you're getting grants and awards from a certain university, you need to make sure you complete the FAFSA. You never know when you're going to get free money, and if you do get free money, that's fantastic. So make sure that you are completing the FAFSA as early as possible. Plus, you don't want to wait till the end. So if the federal or state runs out of money, you're not able to get, the grants or awards that they give you. So you want to make sure October, when it opens up, you want to go October, November, December, somewhere in there, you should be finalizing your FAFSA and having that complete. All right, and then lastly for seniors, take that SAT or ACT again if necessary, all right? If you feel like your first score wasn't really good, I would recommend taking it again. There's no harm in taking it twice. A lot of people take it twice. Submit your score. If you feel comfortable in submitting it for the 4 free colleges, go for it. My recommendation sometimes is usually just wait, see what you get, and then submit it. especially if you're kind of unsure where you're gonna land or what you're gonna get. So you can always send it after you receive the score back. I know it does cost an extra, I think like $12 to send it to a college or to the NCAA, but it does help kind of take a little bit of pressure off knowing that the score is not going to be submitted right away. You get to see what it is. And then if it is better, great. You get to send it and it'll hopefully improve your chances of college admissions. All right. Update any information in the Eligibility Center portal and complete amateur certification. You should be doing this anyway. So anytime you move personal records, things like taking a failed course over and doing that, you should be updating that every year. And then just, you're going to check a button for amateur certification. Basically in April, it opens up and just states that you didn't get paid to play in high school. All right, after graduation date posts on official transcript, ask your school registrar, NCAA lead to download the official transcript to Eligibility Center. This just means that you're going to send your official transcript with a graduation date posted to the Eligibility Center for them to finalize your academic eligibility. And at this point, it should just be kind of a quick process. They just need to break down your senior year and make sure that you took everything you needed and you align with all of the academic requirements, okay? But it has to be an official transcript with a graduation date, so make sure that's on there when you send it. All right, and then lastly, where can you go for help? High school coaches, athletic directors have great resources. Please utilize them. They have connections in the college world. They know what they're talking about as far as your athletic ability, and they can really assist you in kind of developing a good game plan of which schools may be best fit for you athletically. Academically, they can take a look at that stuff and help you out kind of a little bit on that as well. So they're great resources. Please utilize them. And then school counselors and teachers obviously could help with, personal, like editing personal essays, looking at, your letters of rec to make sure that they align with where they need to be, or college application deadlines, FAFSA, things like that. So please utilize them also. And with all four of these, you can definitely utilize them at the same time and get, all your tasks done. So hopefully you can utilize this next year in person, but if not, utilize those video calls and things like that. And I hope you got something out of the presentation. I hope you can start working on this. This is a perfect time to do it over the summer, to start working on your lists and timelines and things like that. All right. So thank you for tuning in with this, and I hope you guys have a really great rest of the day. Thank you.